Good morning, children. I am Rama Sundari, your English teacher, JP High School, Unrajvaram. Okay, how are you? I hope that you are enjoying our online lessons, staying at home. Am I right? Okay, I think that you are utilizing your leisure time very well. Do you know how to utilize the time? This is a hazard time, and in this time you have to utilize it in a meaningful way. It is a wise way to utilize time because time is very precious. We have to utilize it and develop ourselves both mentally and physically also. Through online lessons and in our groups, our PET madam is giving you some exercises to do at your home. If you do it regularly, your body will become fit for anything, for do anything. Like that, if you practice the exercises and if you read the books more and more, then your mental health also will be very well. So, for that, you have to spend your time according to a timetable. Okay, why all these things? These are very important to you because so many parents, your parents, are complaining us about your behavior. What is the complaint? Most of you are watching video games. Too much watching of video games leads you mental hazards. Remember that. Too much use of anything is very bad to our health. So, you have to minimize your watching. You have to use the cell phone only for watching online lessons and only for watching good things only. Don't go to PUBG games, don't go to video games which spoil your mental health and physical health also. Okay, do you remember that? Okay. Now, before going to our lesson, I would like to share some important things in developing the language. How to develop our language. Regarding English, English is a foreign language for us. So, it is somehow difficult for you to develop the language abilities. What are the 4 fundamental language abilities? First is listening and speaking, reading and writing. You know that. So, if you want to speak fluently, if you want to speak continuously in English, first of all, you have to listen more and more. You listen your teacher's words, you listen the TV news, and you listen small stories from your TVs, and you watch the TV video lessons or video shows also, the animal stories like that. Then you will develop your English language automatically without any efforts. You can gain the proficiency in your language speaking. So, what is the first step to develop English is the listening. What is that? Listening competency. So, then if you listen carefully, then automatically you can speak fluently. How can we speak in English fluently? First of all, we have to start speaking with small words. In our daily life, you have to start with small words, small sentences. For that, you have to take the help of grammar books or your teacher's words like that. And there are so many videos which describing the starting spoken English, how to start the speaking, and that is also given in the videos also. If you follow the video lessons, you can speak easily, you can speak English easily because it is foreign language. And before practicing speaking, we have to go to pronunciation, how to pronounce a word. It is very important in English. Pronouncing, in speaking, we have to follow some fundamental rules. What are the fundamental rules in speaking English? Sometimes we have to raise the tone and sometimes we have to lower the tone, and meaningfully we have to we have to speak the words or sentences. Okay, so good listening leads to good speaking, and good reading automatically leads to good writing. These are the four fundamentals, and listening is the first one, and automatically you can speak it if you practice it daily. How to speak? Suppose your mother is cooking in the kitchen, then how can you ask her, Amma em vandutunnavu? So then, Mommy, what are you doing? What are you cooking? What you know? What is the meaning of what? Emiti vandadam, cooking. So you use it by repeating your sentences. At first you will do some mistakes. Don't bother about your mistakes, but practice them slowly and slowly, then you can gain some proficiency in speaking English. Like that in class also. Okay, now reading. Reading is a very important task in English language. Now we are going to discuss reading, how to read a lesson. Now I am taking the lesson, The Snake and the Mirror. The Snake and the Mirror, class 9th. I think that you have already read the lesson, and so far you have an acquaintance with the lesson. Again, I am telling the brief description about the lesson. In The Snake and the Mirror, that is the first unit lesson in 9th class, A reading. The main theme of the lesson is a homeopath doctor was there. He was doing a small practice. His earnings were also very meager. One day he was telling his past experience to his friends. So this lesson described his past experience with a snake. Have you any experience with a snake? Have you ever any experience with a snake? Oh, most of you have so many experiences with a snake, but every time we feel some fear. When we saw the snake, we feel some fear. Okay, I have also an experience with a snake. Long ago, that means 20 years back, when I was in a deep sleep, a snake entered into my room and I heard some noise. What was the noise? I don't know. But I awakened, and when I watched that, a snake was there at a mirror. Really, I didn't believe that a snake, what was the snake doing at mirror? But actually I saw the incident. The snake was enjoying its beauty in the mirror, and I think that it thought that it was another snake or it was another animal, and it was fighting. It was fighting the another snake at the mirror. So in that trial, it was giving some sounds by tapping on the mirror. So that sound made me awaken, and then automatically we called the people who caught the snakes, and that is all. The snake was taken away by the people. It was also a cobra. So it was a tremendous experience for me. Like that, all of you have some experiences with the snake in your life. Here the writer explained his own experience in the lesson. Okay, this lesson was written by Vaikom Muhammad Bashir, who is a Malayali writer. He wrote this lesson, and this was translated in English also. He wrote in Malayalam, and this was already also translated into English. Okay, here now I am going to read the first para, the snake on the mirror. Observe me and follow me how to read the lesson. Has a snake ever coiled itself round any part of your body? A full-blooded cobra? All of us fell silent. The question came from the homeopath. The topic came up when we were discussing snakes. We'll listen attentively as the doctor continued with the tale. Has a snake ever coiled itself round any part of your body? A full-blooded cobra? All of us fell silent. The question came from the homeopath. The topic came up when we were discussing snakes. We listened attentively as the doctor continued with the tale. It was a hot summer night, about 10 o'clock. I had my meal at the restaurant and returned to my room. I heard a noise from above as I opened the door. The sound was a familiar one. The sound was a familiar one. One could see that rats and I shared the room. One could see that rats and I shared the room. I took out my box of matches and lighted the kerosene lamp on the table. Again I am reading the second para. All of you open your textbooks and follow how I am reading, and then you read at your homes. Okay, and if possible, please send me your voicemail also in the group. It was a hot summer night, about 10 o'clock. I had my meal at the restaurant and returned to my room. I heard noise from above as I opened the door. The sound was a familiar one. One could say that rats and I shared the room. I took out my box of matches and lighted the kerosene lamp on the table. This is the way to read the lesson. Okay, to read the passage. In that passage, some sentences are in quotations. Suppose you see the first sentence, has a snake ever coiled itself round any part of your body? Then a question mark was there. And a full-blooded cobra, again a question mark is there. So this whole sentence is put in quotations. That means a man is talking directly. Those are the direct words of a man. So like that, when we read the same sentence in quotations, we have to use the same sound of questioning voice sound. When we ask a question, our tone will be different, and when we talk something statement, our tone somehow it is different. Like that, when the quotations are ended, all of us fell silent. That is the situation. That is the listener's situation. The writer telling us, all of us fell silent. The question came from the homeopath. These are all statement sentences. When we read the interrogative sentences, we have to use some intonation and some stress. We have to follow the pronounce the punctuation marks correctly when we read the passage. Okay, and here the doctor is questioning his friends about their experience with a snake, and after questioning that, the listeners did not tell. They fell silent when they listened the question of doctor. They fell silent. They did not answer the doctor. And the topic came up when they were discussing snakes. Before that, they were discussing snakes. Snakes. So we listened attentively as the doctor continued with the tale. All the listeners were listening the question attentively, listening the past experience of the doctor attentively. So while reading the passage, we have to pay attention towards the punctuation marks and also towards the grammar also in the passage. And if we go to comprehensive passage, if you go to comprehend the passage, we have to pay more attention towards the given questions at first, and then again and again we read the passage. We have to read the passage according to the question wise. Okay, and here, has a snake ever coiled itself round any part of your body? Who is asking the question? Yes, the doctor is asking the question. Okay, all of us fell silent. How do they feel? They fell silent. What is their reaction after listening the doctor's question? What is their reaction? They fell silent. Okay, the question came from the homeopath. Where did the question come up? The question came up from while they were discussing snakes, the question came from the homeopath. That means the question was asked by the homeopath. The topic came up when we were discussing snakes. How do we ask a question from the sentence, from the answer? The topic came up when we were discussing snakes. When did the topic come up? When did the topic come up? That is the question. We can answer is the topic came up when we were discussing the snakes. Okay. We listen attentively. We listen attentively. How did they listen the topic? They listen attentively. Attention means Shraddhaga. Baga, Shraddhaga, Jagattaga. All the listeners, all his friends gathered there. They listened attentively as the doctor continued with the tale. Who continued with the tale? The doctor continued with the tale. What is the meaning of tale? Tale means a small story. So, knowing the meanings of difficult vocabulary, you can proceed the reading in its limitations, in its rules and regulations, following the rules and regulations. Okay, it was a hot summer night, about 10 o'clock. What was the time then? It was 10 o'clock. In the daytime or night time? Night time, night about 10 o'clock. What was the season mentioned in the passage? The season was hot summer. How was the summer? The summer was very hot. So, the hot summer season was mentioned in the passage. I had my meal at the restaurant. Who had his meal? The writer had his meal. Where? At restaurant. He had his meal at a restaurant and returned to my room. Whose room? He returned to his own room, his rented room. I heard a noise. Who heard a noise? Here the narrator the writer was describing his own experience, so that he put I. He mentioned I means the writer. Who was I? I represents the writer. Okay. I heard a noise from above as I opened the door. What did he hear when he opened the door? What did he hear? He heard a noise. Okay. The sound was a familiar one. How was the sound to him? Familiar. If in our school, every time the lorries are going on the road and some vehicles are going, so if we do not see what is going on the road, we can say, oh, some lorry is going on the road, because the sound is very familiar to us. Every day we used to listen the sound. So there is no problem for us to recognize what is the sound without seeing. Like that, every day, every night, the writer used to listen the sounds of rats which were running on the gables from this side to that side. So the running sound of the rats was very familiar to the writer. So he thought, oh, again the rats were running this day. So it was very familiar, he thought. One could say that rats and I shared the room. What would one say when anyone entered the room? They also listened the same sound every time. So they funny jokes they played. Oh, my dear doctor, this room was shared by you and the rats also. Okay, then what did the doctor do? He took out his matches, box of matches, and lighted the kerosene lamp on the table. What does it mean? He lighted a kerosene lamp on the table. When do we light a kerosene lamp or another substitute lamp? Because when there was no electricity, we use the substitute light. Like that means the doctor lighted the kerosene lamp. That means there was no electricity in the room. It is up to our imagination. So, guessing the meaning, grasping the meaning, we have to read the passage. And not only reading, we have to identify the new vocabulary from the passage. What are the new vocabulary? We find out. Here, see here, coiled. What is the first one? The new vocabulary? Coiled, full-blooded, homeopath, attentively, familiar. These 5 words are very new to you in this lesson. Okay, the first one, coiled. Coiled means wound around. Coiled means wound around. Wound means wounding, like this, wound around. The snake wounded round the hand of the doctor. That's why coiled, wound around, full-blooded. Full-blooded means active. The cobra was very active cobra. Okay. So it was called full-blooded. It was described as full-blooded cobra. Homeopath. Homeopath means the doctor who gives some sugar pills, you know, the homeopath. That is the medicine of medical practice of homeopathy. That is called homeopathy. Our tablets and this English medicines, these are called allopathy. Like that, there are so many different methods in medical treatment. So the sugar pills, very small balls, are given by the doctor. They are practiced homeopathy. So they are called homeopath. Homeopath means homeopathy doctors. And next, attentively. Attentively means carefully. Attentively, carefully. Familiar. Familiar means well known. Familiar means well known. Here you have to go through the difficult words again and again. Then it is very easy to identify the meaning for you. Again I am telling, coiled, wound around, full-blooded, active. Homeopath, a doctor deals with homeopathy, attentively, carefully, familiar, well-known. These are the difficult words for the in the passage. And next, here if we know the opposite meanings also for any word, we can easily guess the right meaning. Here are some opposite words. So do silent. Silent means silent. What is the opposite for silent? Noisy. Silent, noisy. Attentively, inattentively. Attentively, inattentively. Continue, discontinue. Continue, discontinue. Open, close. Open, close. Familiar, unfamiliar. Familiar, unfamiliar. Okay. Ganges is a river, Ganga Nadi. It is very familiar to our nation. Everyone knows it. So it is a familiar one, familiar river. But we don't know some names of some rivers which is not familiar. They are called unfamiliar. Okay, unfamiliar rivers. Like that, we have to practice a reading of a passage. And now, not only reading, not only identify the new vocabulary, we have to go through the identification of parts of speech also. It is called an analytical study of a comprehension. Analytical study. Here, first line, the question came from the homeopath. There is a line, the question came from the homeopath. The means, what parts of speech? The adjective. Why? Why is it an adjective? Why is it called an adjective? Because there is a noun question. Here, what question? The question. The question means, the question is very familiar for us, but because it is given in the first sentence, first line, so the question, the word the is actually it is an article, a and the three are articles. Here the is acting as an adjective to the noun. In the last class, I and Nirishan sir also explained you about the parts of speech. Now it is your duty to identify the parts of speech what you are reading. The question, here question is a noun and these describing the noun. So these an adjective. Came from the homeopath. Came. Came means it's a action word, so it is a verb. What is came? Came is a verb. From the homeopath. Came verb from. Preposition. From is a preposition. And the again the is mentioned, it is an adjective. Homeopath, it is a name of the doctor, so it is a noun. Okay, so these are the parts of speech presented in the passage. And not only this, here in your past DD lessons, in the past classes, previous classes, the government has given you some worksheets to fill. We presented the worksheets to you in your groups, and you have to fill the worksheets as early as possible and send us the answers. We will correct them. Okay, for every class, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, all classes, the worksheets are given by the government in the previous DD lessons. You follow them. If you do not get them, you tap on the YouTube, again you subscribe the YouTube channel and get the lessons, and we also put them in your groups. So if you go through your groups also, you will get the lessons again and again, and whenever you required, you stop the video there and you note the contents clearly, and then try to fill the answers, fill the blanks and fill the worksheet. Okay, now I would like to give you a presentation of reading from the video.
Which keep moving in and out of the room. The room has no electricity supply. One summer night, the doctor takes his dinner at a restaurant and returns home. As the doctor opens the door of his room, he hears a noise from above. But he does not react because he is used to such noises. He lights the kerosene lamp, takes off his coat, shirt and vest, and opens the windows. He takes out a medical book from the table drawer to read. He keeps it on the table on which a lamp, a large mirror, and a small comb are placed. He opens the book and sits down. As he's sitting in a chair in front of the mirror, he looks at his image. He thinks that, as he is not married and is a doctor too, he should look handsome to get a better match for himself. He decides to shave daily, grow a thin mustache, and keep an attractive smile on his face. Gradually, his thoughts shift from self-admiration to planning for his marriage. He thinks that he would marry a rich doctor having a good practice. He would choose a fat lady as his wife so that she would not be able to run fast and catch him in case she chases him for doing some mistakes. He's so engrossed in daydreaming that he does not pay attention to the sudden silence. The rats have stopped scampering and there is a sound of something falling behind him. It happens so instantly that he does not get any time to react. By the time he turns around to see, a snake has wriggled over the back of the chair and lands on his shoulders. It coils around his left arm so firmly that his arm starts aching. It is a dangerous cobra with its hood spreading out, hardly 3 inches from his face. He sits there like a stone statue, afraid to move, lest the snake may bite him. He thinks of various medicines he has to take in case the snake bites him. In this moment of fear of death, he realizes that God has punished him for being too proud and arrogant. The moment he accepts his true worth, the snake turns his head and looks into the mirror. The doctor thinks that maybe the snake is attracted towards its own beauty. That is why it is looking so carefully in the mirror. Slowly, it crawls off his body and creeps onto the table and moves towards the mirror, as if to enjoy its reflection in the mirror closely. As soon as the snake gets down from him, he quietly gets up from the chair, leaps through the yard and runs away to his friend's house. The next day in the morning, the doctor along with his 2 friends goes to his room to bring out his belongings from there. The room has been cleaned out. Some thief had removed most of his things the previous night and left behind his dirty vest, maybe to insult him.
Okay? My dear children, have you listened the video clipping?
By Douglas James. If I were you is a...
Have you listened the video clipping? And I think that you observe some pronunciation methods, how to pronounce a word. And generally in English the middle R would be silent. The middle R would be silent. Okay, if you practice like that, then you can read in a meaningful way. The pronunciation, you can have a right pronunciation. Here in this video clipping, the total story was given to you in brief with graphical pictures. I hope that you will have an idea by seeing it repeatedly and staying at home. You utilize the precious time in reading small story books of English, and you can develop your English language. If you have any doubts, let me know through your groups. Okay, thank you children, thank you for participating in the video. Okay,
Good morning children, how are you? Hope you are doing well during this calamitous pandemic COVID-19. As we don't have regular classes, the headmaster and Chitti Digitals have arranged this online classes, and every day we have lessons on different subjects. As a part of it, today I stand before you to deal with a small topic in grammar, that is if or conditional clause. In my last class I dealt with parts of speech. Hope you have followed all the 8 parts of speech. You have some knowledge in it. And today I want to discuss something in detail about this topic, if clause or conditional clause. Just I would like to ask you, what do you mean by clause? A clause is a part of a sentence. A part of sentence with subject, verb and an object or predicate. A clause can be defined like this: a part of a sentence with a subject, verb and an object or predicate. So this clause may not be giving full sentence, full sense, but it's a part of a sentence. There are 2 types of clauses. One is main clause. Second one is subordinate clause. Main clause also called independent clause, and subordinate is dependent clause. So a clause is a part of a sentence with a subject, verb and predicate or object. There are 2 types of clauses. One is main clause and the second one is subordinate clause. Main clause also is called independent clause, whereas subordinate clause is called dependent clause. That means subordinate clause depends on the main clause for its meaning. Main clause can stand of its own, it doesn't need any support of the subordinate clause, whereas subordinate clause depends upon the main clause for its full sense of meaning. So now we come to if clause or conditional clause. There are 3 types of conditional clauses. Type 1, and this is called zero conditional. Or open conditional. Zero conditional or open conditional. and it comes under type 1. For example, if you play well, you will win the game. If you play well, you will win the game. So it is zero conditional or open conditional. It also can be called probable. Probable conditional. There is a probability of getting result here. If you play well, there is a possibility of winning the game. So this is if clause and this is main clause. As I told you, you will win the game is the main clause, because here is the subject and will win is the verb, the game is the object. You will win the game. So it gives full meaning. It is called main clause or independent clause. Whereas if clause, if you play well, so this is a subordinate clause, or you can also call if clause or a conditional clause. If you play well, if you take this only part, it doesn't give any sense. It doesn't give any meaning. If you play well, what will happen? So the result is here. So this is the cause. If you play well, is the reason or cause, and this is the effect. You will win the game. So if you play well, you will win the game. It gives full sentence, full sense. That's why this if clause depends upon the main clause for its meaning, because this is a subordinate clause or dependent clause. It depends upon main clause for its meaning. When we look at its structure, so this is subject and this is verb. Subject is V1. Subject is V1. If you play well, and it is subject plus will or shall or can or may plus V1, and this is simple present. And this is simple future. The structure is if you play well, so it is a simple present. When we look into the tense, subject is followed by verb 1. Verb 1. You play, if I play well. And whereas if she plays well, if he plays well, or if it plays well, he, she, it, third person of singular takes yes or es for verb. That's the rule. If you play well, you will win the game. So here the structure is it is in present tense. If clause in present tense, whereas main clause in simple future. That's why if you play well, you will win the game. We can also have another example. If you water the plants, they will grow well. If you water the plants, they will grow well. So you is the subject and water is a verb here. If you water the plants, plants are the object. What will happen if you water the plants regularly? They will grow well. So, they is the subject, will grow is verb, and well maybe of course this one. So, they will grow well. This is in simple feature. So, I hope you are following. So, this is a type 1. It's called zero conditional or open conditional or probable conditional. There is a probability of getting result here. Sometimes even if you play well, you may not win. That's different. That's why it's called probable conditional. There is a probability, there is a chance of getting result here. Even if you water the plants regularly, sometimes they may not grow well. There may be some other reasons for the plants not growing well. But there is a probability of getting these plants growing well when you water them regularly. So there is a probability. That's why it's called probable conditional. When we come to type 2, type 2, it's called imaginary. Imaginary conditional. Or it also can be called improbable. Imaginary or improbable conditional. I'll give you an example, same. If you played well, you would win the game. If you played well, you would win the game. So here, this is subject, this is verb, verb 2. So the structure is subject plus V2, it is called simple past. And here, subject plus would plus V1. If you played well, so this is imaginary. The game was over, you did not win the game, but you would imagine that you played well and you would win the game. I will give you another example. If I won the lottery, I would help the poor. If I won the lottery, you did not win the lottery, you did not help any poor, but you imagine, or you imagine, if I won the lottery, I would help the poor. One more example. If I were a bird, I would fly. If I were a bird, I would fly. So it's improbable being a bird. But I imagine if I were a bird, I would fly. So here were is the past form of are. Because whenever we imagine ourselves being something, we use this phrase or expression, if I were. If I were the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, I would control this COVID-19. Yesterday, former Chief Minister was telling that if I were the Chief Minister, I would control the COVID-19 effectively. If I were the Prime Minister of India, I would do something and something. If I were the President of India, if I were the headmaster of the school, if I were the English teacher of the class. If I were the sarpanch of the village, if I were the collector of the district, so I would do so and so. I would do this and that. That is nothing but imagination. It's also called unreal. Unreal conditional. Actually, becoming a bird is impossible, isn't it? It's really only imaginary only. Winning a lottery, of course, some people win the lottery, but even without winning, if we imagine ourselves as if we have won the lottery, we have to say that if I won the lottery, I would help them. If I had 2 cars, I would give one. I have no car at all, but I imagine I had 2 cars. If I had 2 cars, I would give you one. If I had so and so, I would give you one. Like that. So this is the type 2 conditional. When we move to type 3, and this is called unfulfilled or impossible conditional. Unfulfilled or impossible. For example, if I had played well, I would have won the game. If I had played well, I would have won the game. Here the structure is subject plus had plus V3. Played is V3 and this is called past perfect. Past perfect tense. And here the structure is subject plus would plus have plus V3. If I had played well, I would have won the game. So usually when the elections are over, the parties meet for what is called review. They will discuss this and that. We could have done like this to win the elections, and they could have been done like this to have more seats. So they will have a review, and even if we do the same only after losing something, when we could not do better in our examinations, so we have a self-review. So I could have done like this, I could have done like that, so that I may have more marks or more rank and so on so. Even after losing some series, the teams of maybe of cricket or kabaddi, any other team, they will have a review with the team management. So they discuss the things that went wrong. They would discuss what are the failures they had, what are the things they did not put in practice, what are the things that they did not implement properly in the way of playing. So they would have a review. So this is nothing but unfulfilled or impossible, and no possibility of getting result here because already over. But we say that if I had played well, I would have won the game. I will give you one more example. If you had invited me, I would have attended to your birthday party. If you had invited me, I would have attended to your birthday party. You did not invite me, I did not attend. But when we meet, I say, if you had invited me, I would have attended to your birthday. So birthday party was over, the person was not invited. But when they meet, maybe after somewhere, you may say that if you had invited me, I would have attended to your birthday party. So this is unfulfilled or impossible conditionals. In examinations, we will be given two sentences like this. She did not see the snake. She did not run away. She did not see the snake. She did not run away. So when we are asked to combine these two, in this third conditional, we can make a sentence like this. If she had seen the snake, she would have run away. If she had seen the snake, she would have run away. She did not see the snake. She did not run away. These are the two separate sentences. But when we are asked to combine it using if, we can go for this third conditional, combining like this. If she had seen the snake, she would have run away. So children, you just mind these three types of these conditionals with structures. When we have, see, they are the if conditionals or if clauses. There is a main clause, and structure has to be followed the same only. In the type 1, we have simple present tense and simple past. Simple present tense in the subordinate clause and simple future in the main clause. That is, if clause has simple present, main clause has simple future. This is the structure. This is the type 1. You should not mix it. So don't get confused. Just practice more. Second one is second type is it's a simple past. Simple past, and main clause has the structure subject plus would plus V1. So that it has to be followed, and this is mainly used for imaginary conditionals. And third one is past perfect tense. That means had plus V3. Had plus V3. Of course, played is V2 is the same only, but when we have had here, it is a past participle. Had plus V3. This is called past perfect tense. And there, would plus have plus V3. This is a structure for type 3 used for unfulfilled and impossible conditionals. So this is all about clauses. I repeat, a clause is a part of a sentence with subject, verb, or object or predicate. And clause has two types. One is main clause and second one is subordinate clause. Main clause also is called independent clause, subordinate is called dependent clause. When you come to these if conditionals or if clauses or conditional clauses, we have three types. And type 1 is called zero conditional or open conditional. It's also called probable conditional. There is probability of getting result here. And the structure is if clause has simple present tense and main clause has simple future. and this is example. Second conditional is imaginary or improbable or unreal conditional, and structure is simple past in if clause, and main clause has subject plus would plus V1, and we have the examples here. Third type is unfulfilled or impossible conditional, and if clause has past participle, that is past perfect tense with subject plus had plus V3, and main clause has subject plus would plus have plus V3. These are the examples. So this is all about if conditional. Now I will give you some exercise, try to do it. Heat the ice, it will become water. Don't tell lies. Okay, I will get angry. You can add it. Don't tell lies, I will get angry. And third one is switch off your TV . Or I will go mad. Study well. You will get first class. Maintain physical distance. You will be safe from COVID-19. So look at these 5 examples. Heat the ice, it will become water. I hope that you are following. All these may be changed into or combined with type 1 conditional clause. Remember, the structure is present tense, simple present tense, and main clause has simple future. So you can combine like this. If you heat the ice, it will become water. When we combine it, when we combine 2 sentences into one, we should remove this full stop. When we remove the full stop here, automatically I becomes the small I. See, after full stop, we have a capital I here. But when we combine it, when we join the 2 sentences into one, when we remove this full stop, immediately the first letter also becomes the small letter. So if you heat the ice, it will become water. What will happen if you heat the ice? It becomes water. So there is a combination. Second one is don't tell lies, I will get angry. When will I get angry? If you tell lies. If you tell lies, I will get angry. So we have to remove, it is in a negative sense. When will I get angry? Only when you tell lies. So when if clause is in negative sense, that means with not or don't, you have to remove it. You can combine lies. If you tell lies, the second one is same. I will get angry. If you have this don't, it gives negative sense. If I combine lies, if you don't tell lies, I will get angry. So if clause itself is a negative, isn't it? Conditional. Don't tell lies. So if you go for if you don't tell lies, it gives negative sense again. So when will I get angry? Only when you tell lies. If I have again don't here means two negatives. If you don't tell lies, I will get angry. That's wrong. So remove this one. If you tell lies, I will get angry. Third one is switch off your TV. Suppose you are having high volume, disturbing the neighbors, maybe others. So when somebody comes and fed up with the sound, being irritated, so he may say, switch off your TV or I will go mad. So when will he go mad? Only when you don't switch off your TV. See, or again gives negative sense. That's why you have to combine it like this. If you don't switch off your TV, remove this R, I will go mad. If you don't switch off your TV, I will go mad. You don't need R here. This conjunction here, you have to remove it. So R here gives negative sense. That's why we go for negative form here. If you don't switch off your TV, I will go mad. When will you go mad? If you don't switch off your TV. If you switch off your TV, nothing happen, no problem at all. So if you don't switch off your TV, I will go mad. If you study well, same, you will get first class. There is probability of getting first class when you study well. The last one, if you maintain physical distance, keep comma, combine without removing anything, you will be safe from COVID-19. See, to escape from this pandemic, the government is asking us to follow certain precautions. See, wearing mask and washing our hands frequently with sanitizers or soap, and maintaining physical distance. See, there are the precautions to be taken to be safe from COVID-19. So if you maintain physical distance, you will be safe from COVID-19. These are the 5 examples for type 1. Type 1. I hope you have understood. When you go for the type 2, we can have few more examples. Just I will give an exercise for your better understanding. He was not a bird. He would not fly. He did not win the lottery. He would not help the poor. I did not have enough money. I would not buy a car. I did not have enough money. I would not buy a car. She did not study well. She did not pass. Fifth one is we did not start well, start early. We did not catch the bus. So when we combined these two sentences using this type 2, you can have like this. If you were a bird, if you were a bird, remove this not. He would fly. If you were a bird, he would fly. As I told you, so this is unreal conditional or imaginary conditional. He was not a bird, he would not fly. So when would he fly? Only when you were a bird. So being a bird or becoming a bird is impossible or unreal. That's why you have to go for this second type. If he won the lottery, if he won the lottery, he would help the poor. Third one is if I had enough money, I would buy a car. I did not buy because I had no money. If I had enough money, I would buy a car. If she studied well, she would pass. You can have the exam. She would pass the exam. Last one is if we started early, we would catch the bus. So here are the 5 examples for type 2 conditional, that is imaginary or unreal conditional. When you go for the last one, type 3, we can have 5 more examples. Hope you are following. First example is the thief did not see the police he did not run away. You did not give your phone number. I did not call you. You did not do any hard work. He did not get the job. He did not do any hard work. He did not get the job. She did not take an umbrella. So she got drained in the rain. She got drenched in the rain. She did not take an umbrella, so she got drenched in the rain. Last one is my uncle did not have enough money he did not build a house. So look at these 5 examples. For type 3, the thief did not see the police. He did not run away. If he had seen the police, he would have run away. See, we can combine like this. If the thief had seen the police, he would have run away. If the thief had seen the police, he would have run away. He did not see, he did not run away. If he had seen, he would have run away. That is unfulfilled or impossible conditional. Because he did not see, the police came and arrested him. But we say like this: if the thief had seen the police, he would have run away. Then, if you had given me, if you had given your phone number, I would have called you. If you had given me your phone number, or if you had given your phone number, you can also have here me. You did not give me your phone number, you can also have me here. If you had given me your phone number, you did not give me your phone number, I did not call you. If you had given me, I would have called you. నీ నంబర్ ఇచ్చుంటే నేను నీకు ఫోన్ చేసి ఉండేవాడిని. వాడు పోలీస్ అని చూస్తుంటే పారిపోయి ఉండేవాడు. థర్డ్ వన్ ఈజ్ if he had done any hard work, he would have got the job. If he had done any hard work, కష్టపడలేదు వాడికి ఉద్యోగం రాలేదు. వాడు కష్టపడి ఉంటే వాడికి ఉద్యోగం వచ్చి ఉండేది. If he had done away hard work, he would have got the job. So this is unfulfilled. Did not get the job. But when he had a review or when somebody comments on his position, we can say like this: if he had done any hard work, he would have got the job. Fourth one is if she had taken an umbrella, she would have not drenched in the rain. If she had taken umbrella, she would have not drenched in the rain. ఆమె గొడుగు తీసుకెళ్ళలేదు, వర్షంలో తడిసిపోయింది. ఆమె గొడుగు తీసుకెళ్ళి ఉంటే వర్షంలో తడిసి ఉండకపోయి ఉండేది. సో దిస్ అన్ఫుల్ఫిల్డ్. If she had taken an umbrella, she would have not drenched in the rain. Last one is if my uncle had enough money, he would have built a house. If my uncle had enough money, he would have built. మా అంకుల్ దగ్గర తగిన డబ్బు లేదు, ఇల్లు కట్టలేదు. ఆయన దగ్గర తగిన డబ్బు ఉంటే ఇల్లు కట్టి ఉండేవాడు. If my uncle had enough money, he would have built a house. So these are the examples. I hope you have followed these three types with the structures. So remember one thing. Remember the structures. When we combine it, the same structure has to be followed. Don't mix for type 2 and type 3. So when you go for the type 2, you have to follow the structure. That is simple past tense would plus V1. When you go for the type 3, and this is here if clause has past perfect tense, that is subject plus had plus V3, and there would plus have plus not or have plus V3. So you would have, I would have, you would have got. See, she would have not drenched. And last one, you would have built a house. So this is all about if class. So I hope I have discussed in detail with structures. Go for more practice, and you see that you don't do any mistake while combining. Remember these structures, and you should have some minimum knowledge in tense, because the structure, when you understand the structure, when you understand the tense, it will be very easy for you to understand the structure. So I hope that I have given you a detailed discussion and explanation about this if clause or conditional clause. I hope you have followed it and have more practice. When you have some material, practice material with you, try to combine it, and when we get doubt, you can also bring to our notice. And we at the English department in JPS School Unrajvaram are ready to clarify your doubts. And with that concluding remarks, I remain thanking our beloved headmaster and the Chitty Diesels for giving us this unique opportunity of doing this live program. Maybe having some lessons morning, madam has dealt with the first lesson of 9th class, the snake and the mirror. Now I have dealt this small topic of fifth class or conditionals as a part of the grammar. I hope that you have understood it, and hope that you will do of yourself when you come across some sentences and when you are asked to combine with fifth class or conditional class, and I hope you will do better with this some comprehension. Thank you one and all.